Be me. Name is Miles. 28 years old. I appraise commercial real estate for a living. Driving out to dead strip malls in the suburbs. Taking photos of water damage in abandoned shoe stores. Measuring square footage of empty office parks. It pays the rent. It keeps me busy. My life is usually just a flat line of normal. Wake up at 6:30. Drink cheap, drip coffee. Go to work. Come home. Watch someone restore rusty tools on YouTube. Go to sleep. That was the routine, until Adela. We met on a dating app 2.5 years ago. She works the front desk at a physical therapy clinic, always wearing these oversized knitted sweaters, always losing her car keys in the couch cushions. She has this laugh that makes you want to agree with whatever she just said. We moved in together 8 months ago, renting a little 3-bedroom house, creaky hardwood floors, a weird draft in the hallway near the bathroom, but it was ours. We bought a hideous green velvet couch off the internet. We had a shared checking account for groceries and the electric bill. We had a plastic tub full of mismatched Tupperware. I knew exactly how she took her tea in the morning. I knew she hated the sound of Velcro tearing. I was absolutely going to marry her. I spent the last 3 weeks looking at rings, hiding browser tabs every time she walked into the room. I even went to a jewelry store by the highway on my lunch break, talked to a guy named Colson who smelled like mints and hairspray, put down a $1,200 deposit on a white gold band. I thought everything was locked in. I thought I knew exactly what my life was going to be. But there was always one giant shadow hanging over us. Her older brother, Cedric. Cedric lived 3 states away. He was 31. Built like a guy who moves refrigerators for fun. Thick neck. Always wearing clothes that looked slightly too tight across the shoulders. He would fly out to visit us a few times a year, usually for a long weekend. And every time he did, Adela would absolutely fall apart. The anxiety would start a full week in advance. She would scrub the baseboards with a toothbrush. She would buy these specific, expensive IPAs he liked. She would arrange them in the fridge so the labels faced out perfectly. Her whole personality would change overnight. She went from being loud and funny to quiet and nervous. She walked around our house like she was trying not to wake a sleeping bear. I asked her about it once. We were standing in the kitchen. She was aggressively wiping down counters that were already clean. He basically raised me Miles. Our childhood was really messy. He had to be the tough one to get us through it. He just worries about me a lot. He's extremely protective. I bought it. Because, why wouldn't I? You don't get to pick your girlfriend's family. If her brother is an intense jerk, you just deal with it. You smile and offer him another beer. You play the gracious host. I remember the first time I met him, 6 months into dating. We went to a crowded Mexican restaurant downtown. I tried to shake his hand by the host stand. He looked at my hand like it was a damp paper towel, gave me this weak half squeeze, didn't even make eye contact with me. He sat in the booth and spread his arms out, taking up way too much space. He ordered for Adela without asking her what she wanted. She'll have the chicken enchiladas, no onions. I looked at her, expecting her to correct him. She just stared at the table and nodded quietly. The whole dinner, he just took little digs at me. So you just look at empty buildings all day. Sounds thrilling, man. You ever think about getting a real job where you actually build something? I just laughed it off. Somebody has to make sure the walls don't fall down. He didn't laugh. He just stared at me. Those dead shark eyes. Right. Well, as long as you can afford to take my sister out, she deserves the best you know. I just swallowed my pride. I paid the bill. I tipped 20%. I drove us all home in complete silence. Fast forward to last Wednesday. Cedric flies in for a 5-day visit. I actually took some time off work to help entertain him. Figured maybe we could finally bond. Maybe I could show him I was serious about his sister and our future. I picked him up at the airport. He threw this massive, heavy leather duffel bag into my trunk. It hit the floorboard with a heavy thud. He got in the passenger seat and immediately turned my radio down. How's the car running? Sounds like the transmission is slipping when you accelerate. It was a 3-year-old car. It was perfectly fine. I just gripped the steering wheel and smiled. It's doing all right, Cedric. How was your flight? Flights are flights, Miles. We got back to the house. He dropped his bag in the guest room, immediately started walking around the living room, tapping the drywall with his knuckles, looking at the window seals. You guys are paying too much in rent for this place. The insulation is complete garbage. I can feel a cold draft from here. Adela came out of the kitchen holding a glass of water. Her hands were literally shaking. Hey, Cedric, do you want a beer? I got those ones from that brewery you like. He didn't even look at her. Water is fine, AD. I'm cutting back on carbs right now. You should probably do the same. He glanced down at her stomach. She instantly crossed her arms over her chest. My jaw actually locked up. I was clenching my teeth so hard, but I didn't say anything. Because I was a coward trying to keep the peace, and because I loved her. Thursday night, I decided I was going to cook a massive meal. Prove to this guy that I could provide for his sister. I went to the nice grocery store across town, bought wild-caught salmon, fresh asparagus, little red potatoes to roast with rosemary and garlic. I spent 2 hours in the kitchen prepping everything. Adela was hovering around me the whole time, wiping down the sink, moving salt shakers back and forth nervously. Miles, are you sure it's cooked all the way through? Cedric hates it when fish is pink in the middle. I kissed her forehead. It's going to be perfect. Didi, I promise. We sit down at the dining room table, the one we bought together at a thrift store. It has a slight wobble on the left leg. The house is completely quiet. Just the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, and the clinking of our silverware on the ceramic plates. Cedric takes a piece of the salmon, chews it slowly, swallows, takes a long drink of his water. He looks across the table at Adela, doesn't even acknowledge I am sitting right there. You know, AD? His voice is so thick with condescension it makes my stomach turn. I'm surprised you're eating this. Remember when we went to that seafood place in Portland? And you threw up the salmon in the parking lot. You swore you'd never touch it again. Adela completely stiffens in her chair. She drops her fork onto her plate. Her face flushes bright red. She looks down at her lap, refusing to look at him. That was a long time ago, Cedric. Tastes change. Cedric lets out this cold, empty chuckle. Do they? I don't know. Seems to me you're just pretending to like things, just to fit into this whole suburban domestic act. He waves his hand around my dining room, pointing at the curtains we hung up last month, pointing at the framed poster on the wall. I snap. I set my fork down. It hits the ceramic plate way too hard. A loud crack echoes in the room. It's just dinner, Cedric. My voice is shaking a little bit. She said she liked salmon, so I made salmon. It's not a psychological profile. Cedric slowly turns his heavy head to look at me. His eyes are completely blank. I wasn't talking to you, man. I'm talking to my sister. I know her better than anyone. I've known her since she was a kid. You've known her for what? A minute. Don't interrupt when we're talking. My blood is literally boiling in my veins. I look over at Adela, waiting for her to say something, waiting for her to tell him to back off, to defend me in my own house. She doesn't look up. She just hunches her shoulders forward. She looks like a terrified child about to be scolded. Cedric, please. She whispers it to the table. Just let it go. He smirks at me, takes another bite of the fish. The rest of the dinner is absolute dead silence. I can hear myself breathing. Friday morning, I wake up early. The house is quiet. Sun is just starting to come through the living room blinds. Cedric is already gone. He left a scrap of paper on the counter, saying he went to a local gym to lift. Adela is in the master bathroom. I can hear the shower running. I am standing in the kitchen in my sweatpants, making my second cup of coffee. I have a huge Zoom interview at 1 o'clock. Interviewing for a senior appraiser promotion. More money and a better territory. I need to look sharp. I remember my good blue dress shirt is wrinkled in the closet. I need the handheld fabric steamer. Adela keeps it in the guest bedroom closet. I walk down the hallway, my bare feet on the cold hardwood. I open the door to the guest room. It smells like cheap cologne and sweat. Cedric's stuff is thrown everywhere. T-shirts draped over the lampshade, wet towel thrown on the floor. His massive leather duffel bag is sitting open at the foot of the bed. I step around it carefully. I open the closet door, grab the little plastic steamer off the top shelf. I turn around to leave the room. My ankle catches the heavy canvas strap of his duffel bag. The whole bag tips over sideways onto the rug. Damn it, I muttered to myself. I crouch down to shove his stuff back inside. A couple of gym shirts spill out onto the floor, and a heavy black leather zip around portfolio case slides out. It hits the floor, and the zipper bursts open. A thick stack of heavy legal-sized papers slides halfway out. I reach out to push the papers back into the leather case. I don't want to snoop through his stuff. I just want to fix the mess and get out of his room. But my fingers brush the top page, and the bold capitalized font catches my eye. I stop moving. My lungs completely empty out. I just stare at the paper. It is a legal document. The header reads, State of Nevada, Family Court Division. Below that, Final Decree of Divorce. I am kneeling on the carpet. The steamer is sitting on the floor next to my knee. My brain is just refusing to read the words. It feels like looking at a math problem in a foreign language. I slowly pull the document fully out of the portfolio. My hands start to shake. a violent, undeniable tremor in my fingers. Plaintiff, Cedric Thomas Vance. Defendant, Adela Marie Vance. Formerly Rossi. Date of marriage, October 14, 2018. Date of dissolution, March 22, 2021. My heart starts hammering against my ribs. It beats so hard I actually feel it in my throat. I flip to the second page. The paper is thick and heavy in my hands. It details a division of a shared bank account. It details a car being sold. It details a mutual restraining order that expired 2 years ago. I drop the papers on the floor. I start digging wildly through the open portfolio, shoving aside bank statements and old tax forms. There is a smaller folded envelope tucked in the back pocket. I rip the flap open. 3 glossy 5x7 photographs fall out onto my lap. They land face up. They are wedding photos. Adela is in the first one. She looks incredibly young, maybe 20 or 21, wearing a simple white dress with lace sleeves. She is beaming at the camera, holding a bouquet of white roses. And standing right next to her, with his massive arm wrapped tight around her waist, is Cedric. He is wearing a black tuxedo. He is smiling. They are kissing in the second photo. They are cutting a 3-tiered cake in the third photo. My vision actually blurs. The edges of the room start to get dark. A high-pitched ringing starts deep in my ears, like a fire alarm going off miles away. The man sleeping in my guest room. The man eating my food at my table. The man insulting my career in my own house. The man I spent 2 years trying to impress, because he was her fiercely protective older brother, was her ex-husband. I don't hear the shower turn off down the hall. I don't hear the bathroom door open. I don't hear her footsteps on the hardwood floor. Hey, did you find the steamer? I flinch so hard I almost fall over backward. I whip my head around. Adela is standing in the doorway of the guest room. She is wearing a white terry cloth bathrobe. A pink towel is wrapped up around her wet hair. She is smiling, holding her toothbrush. She looks at me sitting on the floor. She looks at the overturned duffel bag. Then she looks down at my hands. She sees the heavy legal paper. She sees the glossy wedding photos scattered on the carpet. The smile vanishes instantly. Every drop of blood drains out of her face. She looks like she just stepped on a landmine. Her jaw drops open slightly, but no sound comes out. Her toothbrush clatters onto the floor. She takes a tiny involuntary step backward into the hallway. Her hands grip the lapels of her bathrobe tight. I slowly stand up. My knees pop. I don't feel angry right now. I don't feel sad. I feel completely hollow, like someone scooped out my chest with a spoon. I hold up the divorce decree by the corner. Who is this? I ask. My voice doesn't even sound like me. It sounds like a recording of a stranger. Adela's eyes instantly flood with tears. Her chest starts heaving in these sharp, panicked breaths. Please, she chokes out. Miles, please let me explain. Please don't hate me. I can explain everything, I swear. Who is he, Aid? I repeat it, my voice rising just a fraction. He. She stumbles over the word. He was my husband. She completely breaks down. She collapses onto the edge of the guest bed, burying her face in her hands, sobbing so hard her shoulders are shaking. We got married when I was 20. I was so stupid, Miles. I was just a kid. It was an absolute nightmare. He was so controlling. He wouldn't let me talk to my friends. He checked my phone every single night. I finally left him when I was 23. I just stare at her crying on the bed. And you introduced him to me as your brother. The words feel absurd coming out of my mouth. For 2.5 years, you let him sleep in our house. She looks up at me. Her face is red and blotchy, mascara running down her cheeks in messy streaks. When I met you, I was so ashamed. I just wanted a clean slate. I didn't tell you at first because I thought you'd leave. I thought you'd judge me for being a divorced mess at 25. But then, she gasps for air, wiping her face. Then Cedric found out about you. I am gripping the papers so hard they are wrinkling. What do you mean he found out? He still watches my social media. He has dummy accounts. When I posted a picture of us for our 6-month anniversary, he called me that night. He went completely crazy on the phone. He said if I didn't let him meet you, if I didn't let him stay involved in my life, he was going to call my parents and tell them everything. He has all this financial stuff hanging over me. Credit card debt we racked up while we were married. He paid it off, but he kept all the receipts. He threatened to sue me for it, to absolutely ruin my credit and my life. He said he just wanted to make sure you were good enough for me. The numbness is finally starting to wear off. A searing white-hot rage is crawling up my neck. So you lied to me. You let this maniac into my home. You let him humiliate me for years. You sat there at dinner last night and let your ex-husband mock me in my own house. while I served him food I'd bought with my own money, under the guise of being your brother. I was terrified of him, Miles. She screams it, hysterically crying, grabbing at the blankets on the bed. You don't know what he's capable of. He destroyed my 20s. I thought if I just played along, if I just let him visit once or twice a year to feel in control, he would eventually get bored and leave us alone. I was just trying to protect what we had. You didn't protect anything. My voice drops to a dead, icy whisper. You completely destroyed it. You built this entire life on an insane, psychotic lie. Before she can say another word, I hear the heavy clunk of the front door unlocking, the deadbolt sliding back. Heavy work boots thump onto the hardwood floor in the entryway. Cedric's voice booms down the hallway. I'm back. Jim was garbage man. The machines are all rusted. You make coffee yet? Adela completely freezes. Her eyes go wide with pure animal panic. She jumps up from the bed and grabs my arm, her fingernails digging into my skin. Please, she begs me in a frantic whisper. Please don't say anything to him. He'll go crazy. He'll break things. Just put the papers away, Miles, please. I look down at her hands on my arm. I yank my arm away violently. I look at her with absolute disgust. I walk out of the guest room, still holding the divorce decree in my right hand. I meet Cedric in the kitchen. He is wearing a tight gray tank top, covered in a layer of sweat, holding a plastic protein shaker bottle. He stops walking when he sees me. He takes one look at my face. He looks down at the thick legal paper crunched in my fist. He doesn't panic. He doesn't look surprised or caught. A slow, sickening smirk spreads across his face. Well, he says casually, unscrewing the plastic lid of his shaker bottle. I guess the idiot finally figured it out. I don't yell. I don't throw a punch, even though every single muscle in my body is screaming to hit him. I just stare at him with unrestrained hatred. Pack your bag, I say. You have exactly 5 minutes to get out of my house, or I am calling the police. Cedric laughs. He actually throws his head back and laughs. He leans his elbow on my kitchen island. Or what? You gonna fight me, real estate boy? She's my wife. She's your ex-wife, I correct him. Taking one step closer, the adrenaline is roaring in my ears like an ocean, and you are trespassing in my home. I don't care what weird, sick control game you two have been playing. It ends right now. 4 minutes. Then I'm dialing 911. He looks at me, really sizes me up. He realizes I am not backing down. I am not the quiet pushover guy from the restaurant anymore. The smirk fades away, replaced by an ugly, venomous sneer. You're a joke, man. He spits the words at me. You think she actually loves you? She's been terrified of me for years, and she still let me sleep 20 feet away from you. She still texted me back every single time I told her to. You're just a safe, boring little wallet. She's just using you to hide from the real world. He pushes past me, shoulder-checking me hard into the doorframe of the kitchen. He walks down the hall into the guest room. I hear the sound of heavy zippers ripping open, clothes being shoved around violently. Adela is sitting on the floor in the hallway now, sobbing uncontrollably into her knees, rocking back and forth slightly. I don't look down at her. I just stand in the living room, watching the digital clock on the microwave count down the seconds. 3 minutes pass. Cedric walks out with his heavy duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He walks to the front door, grabs the handle, looks back at Adela, crying on the floor. Call you next week, Ad, he says mockingly. He slams the front door behind him. The house actually shakes. I walk over to the front window, pull back the blind. I watch him throw his bag into his rental sedan. He peels out of my driveway, leaving a black tire mark on the concrete. The house is dead silent again, save for Adela's muffled, gasping cries. I walk back to the kitchen counter, pick up my cold mug of coffee, pour it down the stainless steel sink. I stare at the drain for a long time. We need to talk, I say without turning around. But first you need to go pack your things. Adela doesn't argue. She knows it is over. She spends the next 2 hours packing suitcases in our bedroom. I sit on the green velvet couch in the living room, staring at a blank television screen. I hear her zipping up bags. I hear her opening and closing dresser drawers. She comes out around noon, dragging 2 heavy suitcases. She looks completely destroyed. I'm going to stay at a hotel downtown, she whispers. I'll come back for the rest of my stuff later. I just nod. I don't help her carry the bags to her car. I just listen to the front door click shut again. I look at the clock. It is 12:45. I have my Zoom interview for the senior appraiser promotion in 15 minutes. I am still wearing sweatpants. My hands are still physically shaking. I walk into the bedroom. I grab that wrinkled blue dress shirt. I put it on without steaming it. I sit down at my desk in the corner of the room. I open my laptop. My brain is complete static. I log into the meeting. My regional director is there, a guy named Martin who always wears golf polos, and a woman from HR named Alara. "Hey, Miles," Martin says, smiling. "Ready to talk about the new territory?" I stare at the webcam. I try to speak, but my throat is completely dry. "Yeah," I croak out. "The interview is a disaster, an absolute unmitigated train wreck. They ask me about handling difficult clients. I start rambling about trust and deception. They ask me about managing large portfolios. I zone out, staring at a water stain on my wall for 10 full seconds. Ilara from HR tilts her head on the screen. "Miles, are you feeling all right today? You seem really distracted. Is everything okay at home?" The question almost makes me laugh out loud. "I'm fine, Ilara, just a little tired." They end the interview 20 minutes early. Martin says they will be in touch, which means I didn't get the job. I close the laptop. I put my head down on the desk. I stay like that until the sun goes down outside my window. The next morning is Saturday. I wake up on top of the covers, still wearing the wrinkled blue dress shirt. My phone is sitting on the nightstand. It has 42 unread text messages, all from Adela. Massive paragraphs of apologies. "Miles, please, I love you. I'm so sorry, I was just so scared. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this." I blocked his number. "Please just let me come home." I delete the text thread without replying. I walk into the kitchen. It looks exactly how it did yesterday. The steamer is still sitting on the floor in the hallway. I realize we share a bank account. We put our grocery and utility money in there every month. I pull up my banking app on my phone. There is $3,000 in the joint account. I need to separate this immediately. I don't want any ties to her left. I call the bank's customer service number. I sit on hold for 40 minutes, listening to awful elevator music. A guy named Dean finally answers. "I need to remove my name from a joint checking account," I tell him. "All right, sir, I can help with that. I just need the other account holder to verbally verify on the line." I close my eyes and rub my temples. "She's not here, Dean. Can I just close the account and take my half?" "Unfortunately, sir, since it's a joint account, we need both parties present to dissolve it. Or you can go into a physical branch together with 2 forms of ID. I hang up the phone. I throw it onto the couch. I have to see her again. I text Adela. "Meet me at the bank on Main Street at noon. We are closing the joint account." She replies instantly. "Okay, I'll be there." I drive to the bank in silence. It is a bright, sunny Saturday. Families are out walking their dogs on the sidewalk. People are drinking iced coffees. The world is just spinning on completely normal, while my entire life is a smoking crater. I walk through the glass doors of the bank. Adela is already sitting in the waiting area. She is wearing oversized sunglasses inside. She looks small and fragile. I sit down in the chair opposite her. I don't say a word. We wait for 10 excruciating minutes. Finally, a banker named Paula calls us over to her desk. Paula is older, wearing a cardigan with embroidered flowers on the pockets. She is incredibly cheerful. "How can I help you 2 lovebirds today?" Paula smiles at us. Adela lets out the sharp, broken sob. She quickly covers her mouth with her hand. Paula's smile drops immediately. She looks confused and slightly panicked. "We need to close our joint account," I say flatly. "We are separating our finances." "Oh," Paula says, typing awkwardly on her keyboard. "I am so sorry to hear that. I just need both of your IDs, please." Adela hands over her driver's license. Her hand is trembling so badly she drops it on the desk. Paula carefully picks it up. The printer hums loud in the background. Adela is crying silently the entire time, tears just dripping down from under her sunglasses. People in the line for the tellers keep looking over at us, whispering to each other. It takes 20 minutes of paperwork. Paula hands us each a cashier's check for $1,500. "There you go," Paula says softly. "Account is closed." "Thank you." I stand up. I walk out of the bank without waiting for Adela. She runs out the double doors after me. She grabs the sleeve of my jacket in the parking lot. "Miles, please stop. Please just talk to me for 5 minutes." I turn around in the parking lot, sun beating down on us. "Talk about what, Aid? What is there left to talk about? I lived with a ghost for 2 years. You let another man insult me in my own dining room. A man you were actually married to. I didn't have a choice." She cries, gripping my jacket tighter. "He said he would destroy me. He has photos of me from when I was younger. He has debt records. He said he would send them to my boss, to your boss. He's sick, Miles. He gets off on the control, and you enabled it." I pull my arm away from her. You let him drag me into his sick game. I'm not a prop in your hostage situation, Aid. I was supposed to be your partner. I get in my car and lock the doors. I leave her standing by the curb, crying into her hands. I drive aimlessly for an hour. My phone starts buzzing in my cup holder. I look down at the screen. It is Adela's mom, Maura. Maura lives down in Florida. She sends us a huge tin of popcorn every Christmas. I always really liked Maura. I pull over into an empty church parking lot. I turn the engine off and answer the phone. Hello, Maura. Miles, honey. What on earth is going on? Her voice is loud on speakerphone. She sounds frantic. Adela just called me hysterical from a hotel room. She said you threw her out. She said she messed everything up, but she wouldn't make sense. Did you two get into a fight? Miles, you know how sensitive she is. I sit in the quiet car, looking at the steering wheel. Maura, I say slowly, did you know Cedric was staying at our house this week? The line goes completely silent. I hear a seagull screaming in the background on her end. Cedric, Maura asks. Her voice drops an octave. Cedric Vance. Yes, I say. Her brother. Maura lets out this sharp, terrified breath. Miles, what are you talking about? Adela is an only child. I close my eyes. The final massive puzzle piece snapping into place. She told me he was her older brother, Maura. She told me that for 2.5 years. I found out yesterday that he is her ex-husband. She let him stay in our guest room. Maura starts crying over the phone. Loud, messy sobs. Oh my God, Miles, I didn't know. She told us she blocked his number years ago. She told us she got a restraining order. He used to hit her, Miles. He put her in the hospital when she was 22. My stomach completely drops through the floorboard. The anger suddenly drains out of me, replaced by this cold, awful dread. She never told me, Maura. She just introduced him as her protective brother. I bought him beer. I cooked him dinner. Miles, you have to help her. Maura is begging me now. He is a dangerous man. If he knows you found out, he might do something. I hang up the phone. I rest my forehead against the steering wheel. The whole situation is so much darker than I thought. It isn't just a weird lie. It is a battered woman terrified of a psychopath, but she still lied to me. She still endangered me in my own home. I need to talk to someone sane. I call my two best friends, Benjamin and Robert. Benjamin works at a local hardware store. He is always wearing clothes covered in fine sawdust. Robert is a middle school history teacher, always stressed, always drinking green tea from a thermos. We meet at a diner on the edge of town at 8 p.m. Neon sign buzzing out front. Smells like old fry grease and bleach inside. We sit in a red vinyl booth in the back. I order a black coffee. I tell them the entire story from start to finish. I tell them about the duffel bag, the divorce decree, the wedding photos, the confrontation in the kitchen, my phone call with Maura. Benjamin drops his fork onto his plate of fries. He just stares at me with his mouth slightly open. Dude, Benjamin finally says, that is the most insane thing I have ever heard. You let this guy into your house. You let him disrespect you. And he was banging your girlfriend 3 years ago. Benjamin, shut up, Robert says, leaning forward over the table. Miles, this is really bad. This guy is an abuser. He put her in the hospital. She was probably acting out of pure survival instinct. She was trapped. Bullshit. Benjamin interrupts, grabbing a paper napkin. She lied to you every single day for 2 years. She looked you in the eye and said, here is my brother. That takes a special kind of crazy to maintain that lie. What if this guy decided to kill Miles in his sleep? She brought a violent criminal into your house, bro. Robert shakes his head. People do desperate things when they are scared, Benjamin. You don't know what it's like to be hunted by someone like that. Miles, you can't just abandon her. She needs help. I look down at my black coffee, watching the little bubbles pop on the dark surface. I can't be with her, Robert, I say quietly. Every time I look at her, I am going to see him sitting at my table. I am going to see him eating the salmon I cooked. I am going to remember apologizing to him because I thought he was just a tough brother. I can't ever trust a single word out of her mouth again. If she can fake a sibling, she can fake anything. Benjamin nods, tapping his knuckles on the table. Exactly. You gotta cut bait, man. Change your locks tomorrow. Get a security camera for the front porch. This Cedric guy might come back for revenge since you kicked him out. Monday morning rolls around. I have to go back to work. I drive to my office downtown, sit in my cubicle looking at spreadsheets of property values. I can barely read the numbers. My regional manager, Martin, walks over to my desk. He leans heavily on the partition. Hey, Miles, can I talk to you in my office for a minute? I follow him into the glass-walled office. I sit down in the uncomfortable guest chair. Look, man, Martin starts shuffling some papers on his desk. I know Friday was rough. You clearly weren't yourself during that interview. We decided to go with someone else for the senior appraiser spot. I just nod. I knew it was coming. I understand, Martin. It was a bad day. I had a family emergency. Well, HR wants you to take a few days off, Martin says carefully. You seem really burned out. Take the rest of the week off paid. Get your head right. It is a polite suspension. They think I am having a mental breakdown. I pack up my laptop and leave the building at 10 in the morning. I drive back to my empty house. I realize Adela's name is still on the lease. We signed it together 8 months ago. I find the rental agreement in a file folder in my desk. I call the property management company. A woman named Donna answers, chewing gum loudly. Hi, Donna. I need to get my ex-girlfriend off my lease. She moved out. Well, you both signed for 12 months, honey, Donna says, smacking her gum. If she leaves early, you have to requalify for the income requirements on your own. And there is a $500 lease modification fee. Plus, she has to sign a notarized release form. Everything is a massive, expensive hurdle. I print out the release form. I email it to Adela. I tell her to get it notarized and mail it to the leasing office. She replies 5 minutes later. I will. I'm so sorry, Miles. Tuesday afternoon. I remember the engagement ring. I drive out to the jewelry store by the highway. The guy Colson is standing behind the glass counter, still smelling like mints and hairspray. Miles, my man. Colson points at me with a silver pen. The band just came in from the shop this morning. We got the engraving done perfectly. He pulls out a little black velvet box. He opens it up on the glass counter. A beautiful white gold band with a small diamond sitting in the middle. I look down at it. I had them engraved forever on the inside of the band. It makes me absolutely sick to my stomach now. I need to cancel the order, Colson, I say quietly. Colson's smile vanishes. He closes the little black box with a sharp snap. Oh, I see. Miles, I am really sorry to hear that, buddy. I really am. But you know it's a custom engraving. I can't refund the deposit on a customized piece. It's store policy. I nod slowly. I lose $1,200 in 30 seconds. Keep the ring, Colson. Throw it in the trash. I didn't care. I walk out of the store. Wednesday night. I am sitting in the living room eating cold cereal out of a mixing bowl. My phone vibrates on the coffee table. It is an unknown number from out of state. I pick it up. Hello. Hey, Miles. The voice on the other end is deep and thick. It is Cedric. My grip on the phone tightens until my knuckles are white. How did you get my number? I ask. Adela's phone bill is still attached to my old account, man. He chuckles. I can see every number she calls. I hear you guys broke up. That's a shame. Listen to me, you piece of garbage. My voice is shaking with absolute fury. If you ever call me again, if you ever show up at my house again, I am going straight to the police. I talked to her mother, Cedric. I know about the hospital. I know what you did to her. The line goes quiet for a few seconds. The smugness vanishes from his voice. You don't know anything about us, boy. He says in a low, dark growl. She's insane. She lies to everyone. She lied to you, didn't she? You think you're the good guy here. You're just the next Mark. Stay away from us. I hang up the phone. I block the number immediately. I get up and lock every deadbolt in the house. I wedge a chair under the front doorknob like a paranoid crazy person. I don't sleep at all that night. I sit on the couch watching the shadows move across the living room wall. Thursday afternoon. Adela texts me asking if she can come get the rest of her belongings. She says she is moving back to Florida to live with her mom. She says she finally told her mom everything about the blackmail, and her mom is hiring a lawyer to deal with the old debt. I text back and say the door will be unlocked at 2 p.m. She pulls up in her car. She looks exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. She doesn't try to hug me. She doesn't try to cry and beg anymore. She just walks past me into the house. I stay on the porch while she packs up the rest of the bedroom. It takes her about an hour. She carries out cardboard boxes full of winter coats and shoes. She brings out the plastic tub of mismatched Tupperware we bought together. She brings out her favorite coffee mug with the chip on the handle. I finally stand up and help her carry the heavier boxes to her trunk. We don't speak. We just do the heavy lifting in total silence. The neighborhood is quiet. A lawnmower running 3 streets over. I close the trunk of her car. It slams shut with a hollow thud. She stands by the driver's side door. Fumbling with her car keys, she looks across the roof of the car at me. Miles, she says softly. I'm really glad you found out. I just look at her. I hated lying to you. Every single day I hated it. But I was so trapped in my own head. I let him keep terrorizing me because I was too scared to face it. Losing you is the price I have to pay for that. I'm going to get help in Florida. I'm getting a restraining order again. I'm not going to run anymore. I put my hands in my jacket pockets. I look down at the driveway concrete. I hope you do, Adela, I say honestly. Nobody deserves to live like that. Not even someone who lied to me. But you completely broke my trust, and I can't ever fix that. She nods slowly. A single tear rolls down her cheek. She wipes it away quickly with the back of her hand. I know. Goodbye, Miles. She gets into her car, starts the engine. I step back onto the grass. I watch her back out of the driveway. I watch her drive down the street until she turns the corner and disappears. I walk back into my house. The door clicks shut behind me. It feels massive inside. It echoes when I walk down the hallway. Half the closet is empty now. The bathroom counter is clear of her makeup brushes and hair ties. The tube of toothpaste is rolled up perfectly now, instead of squeezed from the middle. The house is spotless, and it is incredibly lonely. I walk into the kitchen. I see a single piece of paper sitting on the kitchen island. It is the notarized release form for the lease. She left it signed and stamped for me. I pick it up. I put it in a manila folder to mail to the leasing office tomorrow morning. My phone buzzes in my pocket. It is a text from Robert. Hey man, checking in? Want to come over and watch the game tonight? Benjamin is bringing pizza. I look around the empty kitchen. At the space on the counter where her tea kettle used to sit. At the slight wobble in the dining room table. I type back, yeah, I'll be there around 7. I put the phone down on the counter. I walk over to the guest room door. I reach in and turn off the light, closing the door completely.